Alrighty, so now let's talk about circles a little bit. Um, More especially the equations of circles. Okay, so the basic format for the equation of a circle is going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared plus, no, equals r squared, where hk is the center of the circle. Those are the coordinates. So h comma k, that is going to be the center. And r, of course, is the radius. Now notice that there's a minus sign built into the equation. Okay, that minus sign is already there. It's part of the formula. So you say, like on this one, you say, all right, I've got x minus what? X is being, or what, x minus what? Well, 5. Not negative 5, just 5. Okay, if this was a plus 5, then I would say, oh, okay, well then now it's a negative 5. That's how it works. Okay, and then over here, y minus what? Well, minus a positive 2. And then that'll be the center. Now, what about the radius of the circle? Well, it says here that whatever's on the other side of the equation, that right side of the equation, is the radius squared. So if you take the square root, you're left with just the radius. And the square root of 4 is 2. Let's try another one. Okay, pause the recording if you want so you can give it a try. 3, 2, 1. All right, so the center is going to be negative 3, positive 4, and the radius is going to be the square root of 16 or 4. And that's it. And in the words of Captain America, I can do this all day. Okay, now they give us the equation of a circle. They say go find the center and the radius. Okay, we're going to have to work a little more for this. On the last one, it was, well, let's write down the answer. So this is where that technique of completing the square is really going to come in handy. So step 1, let's get the x terms together. Okay, then we'll do the y terms. And then the constant term, I'm just going to send that to the other side. Subtract 19 from both sides. So get the x's together, get the y's together, send the constant term packing. All right, next step. For complete, I need to complete the square on the x's and complete the square on the y's. So in order to do that, I need to do something very special. So for completing the square, we need to make sure that the coefficient of x squared and the coefficient of y squared is 1 for both of them. So what we did before with completing squares, we would say, oh yeah, factor of 4 out of those and factor of 4 out of those. But I mean, we could do that, but let's just save time and say, all right, they both, it's 4 for both of them. It'll always be the same number for a circle. Let's just divide both sides by 4, shall we? Now, that's going to give us a fraction, but the alternative is worse. Okay, so we get x squared plus 8x, and I'm going to leave a gap there to complete the square, plus y squared minus 2y equals negative 19/4. Okay, cool. Now it's time to add in our magic number to make, so we can complete the square there and complete the square there. So we take our b, divide it by 2, square that. That's what we add there. Same thing right here. Take our b, divide it by 2, square it. Okay, so that we can complete the square, so that the equation will be in the correct, or be in the form that we can determine what the center and the radius are. All right, so now at this point, when you're completing the square, you always get this part right here, every time. Okay, and what goes there Well, it's whatever's inside the parentheses up there. Okay, 8 over 2 and negative 2 over 2. Now, did we forget anything that we were supposed to do? We sure did. If you're going to add that to the left side, you got to add it to the right over there. All right, so I'll add 8 over 2 squared and negative 2 over 2 squared. All right, so what do we got now? Negative 19/4. Okay, and this is going to be 4 squared is 16, so plus 16. And this guy will be negative 1 squared, that's 1. All right, that tidies it up a bit. Let's keep tidying. So x plus 4 squared plus y minus 1 squared. Oh, hey, we know the center now. The center, it's negative 4, positive 1. Yeah, we've got that figured out. In fact, I'm so excited, I'm just going to write that down. Okay. So negative 4, positive 1 is the center. Okay. It's pretty tough to verify this stuff on a calculator. I mean, it certainly can be done, but it's not obvious. Okay, now negative 19/4, that's actually, what is that? It's negative 4.75. So, excuse me. Let's see. So, I'm just going to do that on my calculator because I don't want to do it wrong. I do enough wrong things in life. Okay. And we get 12 1/4 when we combine everything on the right. Okay. So what is the square root of 12 1/4? Glad you asked. The square root of that guy is 3 1/2. So the radius is 3 1/2. And we're all done. Okay. That is how these are done. Wow, I didn't have to erase anything. That's impressive. Okay, now we're back to something that doesn't take nearly as much time to do. Write an equation of the circle with center 8, 5. So it would be x minus 8 squared and y minus 5 squared with a diameter of 6. Well, the diameter of 6, then that means that the radius is 3, right? So we're going to get 3 squared or 9. Okay, you can do 3 squared or you can do 9, either way. So watch out. The only tricky part was the diameter, or, well, I don't know, maybe there were more tricky parts, or maybe that wasn't tricky for you. But that's really all you do on these. They're really kind of nice. Just write down the answer. And just for old time's sake, let's do one more. So the center is 7, negative 9. So x minus 7 squared plus y plus 9 squared. And again, the diameter is 6. You know what? Let's pretend that the diameter is 8. So that would mean that the radius is 4. And so we get 4 squared right there. And that's the whole shooting match. Okay, so once again, we find the equation of the circle. This time we got to work a little more for it, but not too bad. Well, the center is negative 1, 5. Okay, cool. So we got that. But they don't give us the radius. Ah, crap. So all we need to find is the radius. And we've already found, we already got that guy and that guy. We only have one left. So we haven't even broken a sweat yet. But it says it does go through the point 5, 2. So for any type of line, parabola, circle, whatever, if you know a point that goes through it, then you can always plug that point in for x and y, and it'll give you a true statement because it's on the graph of the equation. So, I'm going to go like this, and pick another color here. So I'm going to plug in the 5 for x, the 2 for y. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. And because it is a point on the circle, I'm allowed to do that. Okay, we'll satisfy the equation. So we'll simplify and get 6 squared plus negative 3 squared is r squared. 36 plus 9 is r squared. 45 is r squared. Aha! So now we're ready to write down the equation of the circle. So it's going to be the x plus 1 squared plus y minus 5 squared, just like before, no big deal. And remember, we're supposed to put r squared right there, not r. Well, r squared is 45. That's why I didn't bother taking the square root. I knew I didn't need to. You could have, and that'd be fine, but it'd just be extra work. Okay, that's it. That's our guy. That's how it's done. So you plug in, plug in the center, and then plug in the point so that you can solve for r squared, and then just put that right in. And it gets very repetitive. All right, once again, we find the equation of a circle, but this time they don't give us the center or the radius. Well, that stinks, but you know what? I'll bet we can figure it out. So like on the last one, you know, once we had the center, we were able to find the radius. Let's go find the center first. We know that there is a diameter for it with like 5, -6 and 5, 1 or something like that. Okay, I know I didn't draw it correctly, but that's okay. I drew a diameter and that's what counts. And so the center, isn't that just going to be in the middle, like the midpoint? Why, yes. Yes, it is. So we just need to find the midpoint of these two guys. So the x coordinate of the midpoint will be the average or the mean of the x values. And the y coordinate of the midpoint will be the average or the mean of the y values. Okay, now I'll just write -2.5. I don't want to do a decimal right now. All right, so we got that. And so let's get going. So we've got x minus 5 from that right there, squared, because that's the center. This is the center, because that's the midpoint between the 2 points of the diameter. Okay, plus y plus 2.5 squared from that guy there. And I need to erase. Equals r squared. Okay, so we did the midpoint to get the center. Now the problem is just like the last one. Okay, what are we going to do? Let's plug in one of the points. Which one? Doesn't matter. They're both on the graph of the circle, so they both work. I'll just pick the first one because might as well. So I'll plug 5 in for x right there. Ooh, that's going to go to 0. That's nice. And then I'll plug in the 1 for y. And let's see what we get. So that all goes to 0. And then we get 3.5 squared is r squared. I wonder what 3.5. So 3.5 is the radius. What is 3.5 squared? Sounds familiar. Let's see again. 12. Oh yeah, we just did that on that other problem. So r squared is 12.25. And it is now time to write this down. So this is going to take the place of r squared. So I would just write it right there. And then we're done. That's it. X minus 5 squared plus y plus 2.5 squared equals 12.25. And then oblique, 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 oblique. That's all, folks.